Mr. Yang Xinming, the Deputy Secretary of CPC Committee, Vice Mayor and Acting Mayor of Tianmen, and Deputy Secretary of CPC Committee and Mayor of Quanjiao, Mr. Gong Dingrong, Mr. Li Yang, Deputy Director of the Hubei CDC. First of all, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Li Yang for the information. By the end of the 27th of March, in Hubei province, we have in total declared 67,801 confirmed cases, among which for Wuhan, 50,006, representing 74% of the whole province, and for the other cities, 17,795 cases, representing 26% of the province. For the day of the 27th of March, in Hubei, we have newly added 0 cases, and we have no imported cases for the day. For the whole province, for 4th day in a row, we have reported 0 newly added cases. For the other cities, except for Wuhan in the province, for 23 days in a row, we have reported 0 newly added cases. By the end of the 27th of March, in the province, we still have 2,526 cases hospitalized, among which 659 serious cases and 227 severe and critical cases. By the end of 27th of March, in total, we have 3,177 death cases in the province, and we have newly added 3 death cases on the day of the 27th, all of them in Wuhan. And by 27th of March, we have in total discharged 62,098 cases, and on the 27th of March, newly added discharged cases 370, among which 360 in Wuhan, representing 97%. Good afternoon, friends of the press. I will give you some information about the work resumption in my city, the city of Xiantao. Our city, Xiantao, has worked diligently under the guidance of the CPC Central Committee and the Provincial government as to the work resumption and the coordination of the economic activities and social activities. While controlling the COVID-19, we have the targeted policies to encourage the resumption of programs and work. By the end of this morning, in total, we have resumed 5,109 utilities with a ratio of resumption of work of 92.7%. For the real estate developers, we have seen a ratio of resumption of 96%. And there were also many employees coming back to work. For the large-scale enterprises, we have 505 of them resumed. The ratio of resumption of work, 97.8%. Their employees have also come back. Second, for the enterprises manufacturing the materials for the COVID-19 protection measures, we have 227 enterprises resuming their work. 90% and more of the enterprises have arranged a lot of commands as long as to May, and also we have pharmaceutical companies. They have started the purchasing activities to our city. In total, we have produced 2 million of protective clothing and also 2.5 billion pieces of medicines. And we have also raised $150 million of exportation value. 95% of the programs with a value of 100 million yuan Among them, 92 of them have resumed. And also for the infrastructure program, they have 100% resumed. For the agricultural production, everybody is back to the working position. There were also 137 processing enterprises for agricultural products. They have resumed their work. And also many agricultural cooperatives and family farms have also resumed their work. And also for major waterworks program, they have also resumed to 100%. We have made 4 major targets for the work. First of all, we should give more policy preferences to the people. On the basis of the central government support and provincial government support, we also published 18 rules to give benefits to the enterprises, and we also encouraged enterprises from other places to give us collaboration opportunities. For 17 enterprises who have transformed their production activities, we try to give them the best support from the financial policy, and some of them, in the best scenario, can have 80% of the reduction in the taxes. And by doing so, we can reduce up to 200 million yuan of burden of taxes for the enterprises. And second, we have invited the presidents of the banks to go to the enterprises, and for those enterprises in need of the loan from the banks, they can ask for help from the banks. Currently, we have issued 2.6 billion RMB to 250 enterprises, and we also have the earmarked funds to support the enterprises. This will help to secure the production capabilities of the major enterprises. With a guarantee letter, the enterprises can have access to loans from the banks. And third, for people going back to the work, we also have the guidelines to follow. For example, we are in collaboration with the local chambers of commerce to launch the designated trains and vehicles to transport people from place 1 to place 2, so that they can have direct transportation from home to factory. And we also have the online job-seeking activities for Guangdong, Zhejiang, and Jiangsu. We have sent more than 5,000 people with 217 vehicles, and by using the same measure, we have received back a lot of employees to work in the city. And fourth is to secure the supply of the materials. For example, the materials for the spring plowing and for the agricultural materials, like more than 1,000 tons of the seeds and also fertilizers, 2,587 machineries for agricultural production. We have also accelerated the progress of the work. We have demanded the tertiary sector, the third parties to give us the investigation of the current production site, and we have also the reserve of the cement, of the sand, and also of other production key materials. Currently, we have supported a lot of enterprises to go back to work every day. We can support the supply of more than 3,000 cubic meters of concrete to the developers, and we have no major problem in the work resumption. Now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Yang Xinming to talk about the situation with Tianmen. Friends of the press, good afternoon. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19, our city Tianmen has closely followed the guidelines of President Xi Jinping and the CPC Central Committee. And according to the detailed arrangement of the central government, we have carried out measures to control the disease and also resume the economic activities. By the stabilization of the job opportunities, we have reassured the normal activities in the society. For example, here for the large-scale real estate developers, there's the ratio of work resumption at 96.2%. And also for the large-scale industries, 96% of the resumption. And for some other enterprises, 87.7% of their employees are back to their position. For the construction sector, 100% of the work resumption, and they have 93.7% of their employees back. We have accomplished the following works. First of all, we have done our best to supply the materials. We have organized some special teams to go into the enterprises to know their demand. And we have also elaborated targeted plans and made reserves of the materials. With the schedule made, we can ensure the supply of materials for our enterprises, and the employees will also feel safe when going to work. We have also shifted the supply of 4.12 million of masks, as well as other materials and equipments. For example, the temperature detectors and also the disinfectants, etc. And second, we have published the opinion of the local government as to resume the work after the COVID-19 pandemic. And currently, for the entities of the market, we have decided to give them more provincial policies and also reduce their tax burdens. In total, there are 45 rules to help the enterprises. We have also made some publicities to the enterprises so that they can make full use of our provincial policies. For the key enterprises making the important materials for the fight against the COVID-19, they can have the loans from the bank with some subsidies to the interest rate. And we have calculated a little bit to see that we can give 40 million RMB of the tax reduction for the enterprises. And third is to give good services to the people in our city. Our leaders at the city have remained in close contact with the people and also the enterprises. For example, we know what is their pain point and we know what is their difficulty, whether they have some problems with the supply or the circulation of the products. And for the circulation of the people, we have to make sure it's always very smooth. And also for the supply, it should be in full stock. We have solved 178 problems for more than 189 enterprises, and the progress is still yet to come. And fourth, we have the job-seeking activities online. For example, today in our WeChat official account and also on the website of the Tianmen City, we are publishing the employment opportunities and the job vacancies. And we also have invited 156 enterprises to offer more than 5,000 job vacancies. And today we have received 230,000 visits on these websites, and we have received more than 6,300 CVs from the applicants, and many of them have been selected and admitted to join the new job positions. We have also launched designated express and also vehicles to help the employees of the enterprises to go and leave their work unit. We also have the point-to-point transportation to help the employees to leave the province to other major destinations like Guangdong and other provinces. In total, there are 5,400 and more people benefiting from this kind of service. And now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Gong Jingrong to talk about the Qianjiang. Friends of the press, good afternoon. Now I'd like to give you a briefing about the work resumption and stabilization of the job opportunities in Qianjiang. In total, we have 246 large-scale industries back to work. And we have also noticed that 100% of the major leading agricultural enterprises, up to 82 of them, have resumed the work. The ratio of other sectors arrived at 82.7%. And many people have also come back to their workplace. For the foreign invested companies, all of them have resumed their work. We have 41 enterprises exporting to foreign countries. They have resumed their work too, with a ratio of resumption of 92.7%. The newly planned programs, we have 130 of them with a value of more than 100 million. 92 of them have resumed their work. That's a ratio of 93.9%. And our major practices are as follows. First, the policy support is very important. We are watching the development of the COVID-19, and during this period, we have encouraged the development of major industries and agricultural work with provincial policies. We support the enterprises' work by more good policies. We have also streamlined the approval procedure. For the enterprises that want to resume their work, they should respond to several requirements. For example, there are 5 rules about that, like they should check the status of their employees, and they should also make sure they have a safe environment for work. And we have also supported local enterprises to change temporarily their manufacturing contents. For example, for some other enterprises, they can choose to produce the protective clothing instead in order to securitize the current supply of the major materials. This morning, we have organized an activity to launch the work resumption with a total investment of 5.65 billion RMB of investment in those projects. We also have the point-to-point assistance. At the municipal level, we have organized 210 groups of officials in liaison with the grassroots enterprises, and those special teams are there to help the enterprises to overcome the current difficulties. After lowering the risk level of our city, at the first moment we have published the document number 29, and we have abolished all the lockdown measures, and we have also freed the transportation in major ports and transportation stations. In order to ease the difficulty in having an access to the production materials and also agricultural production materials, we have collaborated with some enterprises for the manufacturing of those above-mentioned materials and help them to overcome the difficulties in the production. We also worked hard to make sure that the high-level officials and experts who did not have the access to come back to the city can now be transported into the province and into our city. And third, we also have the job-seeking activity on the internet. For example, we encourage people to seek for a new job position. We have 126 enterprises recruiting online with 160 million of job vacancies on that webpage. We also have designated events offering 927 positions. And we also give subsidies to the enterprises which have resumed their work. Currently, we have distributed 10.4 billion RMB to stabilize the current employment situation. And this will help to stabilize 5,600 positions of work. And we have also exempted the share and contribution to the Social Security program for 1,056 enterprises. All the service should be very direct in a point-to-point manner. On the 23rd of March, we have organized the first activity of sending local workers back to their workplace in other provinces, for example, in Zhejiang province. And by leasing of the vehicles and making designated express, we have realized this objective. And due to the outbreak of the COVID-19, we have, during this Spring Festival, 51,000 of people blocked outside of the Zhejiang city, and now they are gradually getting back into the city to resume their work. Outside of the province, there are 15,000 of people waiting to get back to the city, and there will be an extra number of workers. They will find an appropriate opportunity to go back to their work position in the future. And now the floor is open for your question. Please identify yourself. I'm from the Economic Daily. As an important manufacturing basis, what is your work to secure the supply of major medical supply and medical materials? Thank you for your question. For Shintao City, we are one of the famous cities for the manufacturing industry. Currently, we have two battlefields to secure the supply of the medical equipments and materials. We have in total supplied nearly 2 million protective clothing and also the medical intakes. We have realized this objective by taking the following measures. First of all, we have honored our promise. At the hardest moment, according to the guidance of the upper level of government, we have shouldered this responsibility of manufacturing of protective clothing and other materials. We have unified the purchasing of the raw materials, and we have unified the checks of the quality and also unified the circulation of the final products. In total, we have 6 measures to unify our efforts. At the beginning, every day we can produce only 7,000 pieces. And finally, after the resumption of the work, every day we can produce 50,000. And we are one of the major suppliers of the protective clothing and other materials for the whole country. While resuming this production of protective clothing, we have also carried on our work with the manufacturing of the masks. On the one hand, we have organized a smooth production of the masks, and on the other hand, we also encourage other capable enterprises to join the production. And we have also reduced some parts of the exportation of the masks so that they can be used for the internal consumption. We have also opened some express ways to allow some enterprises usually designated for exportation to sell their products in the domestic market. And we have streamlined the procedure of approval so that those enterprises can directly sell their products in the domestic market in the shortest delay. We have also taken measures to ensure that all the supplies and final products from our factory are in good and certified quality. We are also following the guidelines of the local government to have a ceiling on the price of the products so that they can enjoy a very stable price in the market, and there's always a balance between the supply and demand in the market. In total, we have 6 authorities of the local government in collaboration. We are also working together to crack down those counterfeit products. There are 146 cases of the fake products, and we have also confiscated 67,000 of fake protective clothing and also the uncertified bad quality masks. We have followed 7 principles. For the work resumption, you must first get yourself registered. You have to have a wise reorganization of the work. For the employees going back to work, you should give them the health check examinations, and people should respect the social distancing even at the working place. And we should also disinfect the workplace and living environment of the employees. We have to respond to 3 other requirements. For example, there should be 0 contamination cases. And next question, please. Due to the COVID-19, some enterprises have problems in the access to funds. What measures have you taken to help those enterprises to survive? I'd like to give this question to Mr. Yang Xinming. Thank you for your question. For some enterprises, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, did have problems with the fund. The local government has organized a special team of investigation to know the problems of those enterprises. We have strengthened the provincial policies and supports to the enterprises so that they can have extra help from the government. 9 financial institutions in our cities are now in contact with 96 enterprises, and they have issued 770 million RMB of loans to those enterprises. And we have also issued another 370 million RMB to those 23 designated enterprises in the central list of the government. For those enterprises out of the key list of protection of the central government, for those who have already contributed in a large way to the development of the society, we will give them a subsidy to cover 30% of the interest rate when they are borrowing money from the financial institutions. On the 26th of March, we have organized 9 banks to sign contracts in the place with more than 30 enterprises, and the total issuance of the loans is up to 770 million. This is a very good synergy to help the enterprises to resume their work. We also have other channels, online and offline, to help the enterprises to get enough financial support. Especially they can have the pure loans up to more than 100 million RMB without extra guarantee or the mortgage. We also issued 165 million RMB of policy emergency rescue to 2 enterprises in the city. And also, another example is with a credit bank in the city. We have issued 200 million and more to help some other enterprises. The interest rate annually should not exceed 5%, and there are more cases. As to the loan demands, they are under approval currently. For some enterprises that cannot pay back the money they have borrowed already, they will not be punished for the delay of paying back, and this will not put them in the blacklist of a bad reputation. For the micro and small businesses, they will receive more support from the local government for having an access to the loan. We will also lower the threshold for the enterprises and streamline this whole procedure of approval. For example, for the Bank of Agriculture and Commerce, in a period of 3 days only, they have helped the local enterprises of production of eggs and other animals with 2 million. We have noticed that currently in Qianjiang, some enterprises are in difficulty. What is the measure from the local government to help them? I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Gong Dingrong. Thank you for your question. Due to the COVID-19, currently, some enterprises in their daily practices have encountered problems like the lack of professionals and lack of funds and high cost of production, etc. As to those problems, we have published some documents, for example, that to support the small and micro business to confront the COVID-19. In total, there are 28 measures. All of them are very pragmatic measures. And currently, we are also making new studies in order to publish the new document. We have collected 7 versions of this document and it's about to be published. We will make sure that every single one of the rules will be respected and applied to the place, and every enterprise can be managed in a wise way. For example, for the lack of the professionals, we will use the budgetary fund to encourage the enterprises to carry out online training programs so that their employees can have an opportunity and another new channel to receive new knowledge. And as to the financial problem of the enterprises, we have collected 200 million of earmarked funds to be dedicated to the small and micro businesses. And we have also encouraged financial institutions to help 556 small businesses, and they can enjoy a prolonged period of paying back for the loan up to 782 million. For some other small enterprises, they can have a low interest rate in getting a loan from the bank, as low as 3.6% annually. And for some other enterprises, they can also have more preferential policies. For example, their enterprise side contribution to the social security program, and this will help to reduce their burden. I'm from the Hubei television. I'd like to know something about Xiantao. What is the detailed policies about the work resumption and stabilization of the employment? Thank you for your question. After the outbreak of the COVID-19, many enterprises have confronted with the difficulties in the production and resumption of the work. In order to help them out, we have made targeted plans to help those enterprises. For example, reduce their financial burdens, reduce the taxes, and streamline our administration. We will give them preferential policies as to the tax payment. We also have the zero contact payment channel for the taxes, as well as some other measures to help those local enterprises. Currently, we have helped the enterprises and small businesses that have resumed their work with a reduction of taxation burdens up to 30 million. We have also exempted the enterprise contribution to the social security programs for their employees for the months from February to June. For 1,738 enterprises, we have exempted 27.45 million RMB of enterprise contribution of social security program. For those who have already contributed, we will give a rebate of their payment. It is estimated that for the whole year, we can rebate more than 10 million RMB of this contribution from the enterprises. We also give the temporary life allowance for the people for 2 groups of enterprises with a total number of 59. We have given them financial support of 3 million and more. And currently, we are on the way to issue extra employment subvention to the enterprises. For 19 enterprises, they are receiving temporary life allowance as much as 9.4 million RMB. Moving forward, we will also give them preferential policies to the daily consumption of the resources. For example, a better pricing for the water utilization, gas utilization, and other costs. I'm from Hubei Transportation Radio. Work resumption and stabilization of the employment is a key to the social activities. And what is the measure taken by Tianmen? Stabilization of the employment has attracted the attention of everyone. For our city of Tianmen, we have done 3 things. First of all, for those enterprises stabilizing their employment, we will give them bonuses. For those key enterprises which cannot stop their enterprises, we will give to each employee 2,000 RMB as a bonus. And for March and April, for people coming back to work, everyone can receive 500 RMB. There are 2,000 and more people. They are under the investigation and study. Once approved, they can receive each one of them 500 RMB as promised. For enterprises that have already contributed the share to the social security program, 70% of their contribution will be returned back to the enterprises. Currently, the jobless insurance share by the enterprises have been rebated to a large proportion, and moving forward, we will continue to reduce the burdens of the enterprises up to a level of 97 million RMB. And next, we will continue to carry out online programs for training. For people who have difficulty in finding a job, or those who have stayed in a status of jobless for more than half a year, once they find a new job, they can have 1,000 RMB as a bonus. For enterprises who are helping with people living in poverty and signing a contract of more than 1 year, they can receive 1,000 RMB per person. This will benefit 960 people. At the same time, on the platform of professional recruiting, we have opened the online channels for job seeking, and everyone that has found a job on our online platform can also have an extra bonus. Last question. In Qianjiang, you have some pillar business. Is it affected by the COVID-19, and what is the countermeasure? Yes, the crayfish is a pillar industry for our city and is heavily impacted, mainly in the sales, especially for the small crayfishes. The sales is down by 50%, and the price is also down by 50%. In the past, every year by this time, we have exported our crayfish to all the places in the country. However, due to the COVID-19, we have not yet resumed 100% of the channels for the sales of the crayfish. That is the status quo. And we have not yet resumed 100% of this industry of the crayfish. We have taken the following measures. First of all, to set up the platform. We have one exchange center of the crayfish transaction. We have channels online and offline. We have the designated teams of buyers and also designated vehicles transporting from the place of production and places of the sales. Currently, we have also launched the designated express of the sales of crayfish to sell to other places like Shanghai and Zhejiang province, etc. We have also resumed the work with the refrigerator industry for the storage capability. We will make a in-time collection and purchase of the fresh crayfish and make a very quick refrigeration of them. Now the crayfish is online, and by the Sina and other online platform, people are enjoying the crayfish from Qianjiang. Online and offline, there are new channels for the distribution of the products. There are also new ways and places for the processing of the crayfish. And I could say that the industry now for the crayfish is picking up. I'd like to deliver a message here. We are the town of crayfish, the crayfish of Qianjiang, before going into the market, have all undergone a very serious check on their quality. Please feel free to have a taste on the crayfish of Qianjiang. Thank you for all the speakers today, and thank you for our friends of the press. That is all for today's press conference.